Hello, gonna bring you another video about how to interview for a job. Have you ever wondered why you're not getting the job you want? Why are you not getting the callbacks? You've been sending out resumes, but you're not hearing anything back. I know it can be frustrating. So I have some tips. I have some wonderful tips, hopefully, that can help you find your ideal job or even a job. Here are my 10 tips how to interview and get a job. Okay? So, the very first one, I want to just get right into it. Write a wonderful cover letter. Write an excellent cover letter talking about yourself. Ultimately, when you're trying to get a job, you're selling yourself. That's really what it is. You're trying to sell yourself to the employer that you can be a good fit, that you're a valuable asset, you're someone that they can invest in. And you can invest in too. It's a two-way street. So I'll get to that later. So first of all, if you are applying to different industry, I would recommend different cover letter style for different industry. If you're able to write a cover letter that applies to all the type of jobs, good for you, right? If you're able to generalize all your skill set, all your past experience, why you deserve a chance for an interview for the position, whatever position that you're going for, make it as good as you can. Write an excellent cover letter. I think that's the number one thing, because you're competing with thousands and millions, no, or I don't know about millions, but you're competing with a lot of people for the position. So how do you stand out? You're not getting a call. The employer is only going to know you through the initial impression of your resume and cover letter. They're not gonna see you, hear your voice, know type of person you are. You're competing with other applicants with resume and cover letter. So the number one thing is make your cover letter stand out. Write things that you're able to make an emphasis on selling yourself, why you're good for the position, why you qualify, and why the employer should take a look at you. So one of the ways I would do is Google, or nowadays ask ChatGPT how to write a good cover letter. The cover letter should base on your experience, the things you have done. Not I think a lot of people fall into the trap about writing just their skill sets, what they know, what software they know, what they have done. Write more about why you're an invaluable asset. Like, what have you done in your past experience, in your past companies? If you have done, if you have grown a company by revenues, if you have numbers that you can show, that those are valuable information that employers would like to know. So always write how you can benefit the company, not what you can do, right? I think what you can do helps too, but ultimately the employer's gotta feel that you are an asset. By them hiring you, you're gonna bring them value to the company and productivity. So write a good cover letter, do whatever it takes, and again, I recommend writing different cover letters for different industry. You want to make sure your cover letter and the information that you're writing about yourself, the skill set applies to the position that you're applying for. So that's the number one thing. Number two is the resume, which is also, I would say 1A and 1B, right? They're equally important. Your resume has to stand out, whether is the format based on different templates or using different color, or you just got to stand out. You got to design your resume. Some people, I'm not as keen on how people interview these days. Maybe people go through Zooms or Google Meet to do interview nowadays, and that's possible. So I'll get to that, which will apply to that as well. But a resume is gotta stand out. They're getting a lot of applicants. They're getting a lot of resume. You gotta imagine if you're an employer, you're gonna get, and then you have a demanding job. You have a job in demand, then you're gonna get a lot of applicants. So make sure design your resume. It's not just about, oh, I've worked at this company, I've worked at this company, here's my education, here's my skill set. The resume gotta stand out. What you write for each company, of course, is valuable. I think, again, that goes back to the cover letter. You want to not just, it's not a job duty list, right? Like, a lot of people fall into the trap of they're sort of writing their job duties at whatever position that they were in. You want to write what you have done for that company, why you are valuable in your previous positions. Like, that's all the employer cares about. Like, it's not a list of writing qualification. It's not a list of your job duties, what you have done. So that is really important. That's really vital on letting the employer know that you are valuable, that you're an asset for every company that you've been in, right? You brought value, you brought revenue, you brought productivity, you've grown the company. However long you stay, you help the company grow. I think that is the most important thing you got to convey through your cover letter, through ultimately your resume. Make your resume stand out, whether it's through coloring, template design, whatever it takes. There's so many templates out there in the world. Do whatever it takes to make your resume stand out. So make it unique. Understand how to sell yourself, like why you're valuable, right? You got to stand out. So if you don't even accomplish those two things, you're not going to be able to get a phone call back. So that's the second one, creating an insightful, beautiful, unique resume about yourself, and that has to stand out. Number 3, so let's just say you're lucky enough to get a call back. You're set up for an interview, whether it's on Zoom or in person. You got to approach the position with strong confidence and faith in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have the ultimate confidence that you are a qualified individual, that the company will be lucky to have you. You don't want to come off arrogant. You want to be humble and modest, yet very confident. You want to give out that energy. So if that's not your strong suit on always being confident, I think that's something you can practice on. It shows across your energy that you come across, people that communicate with you. It's vital in interviewing jobs. So like, get that energy ready before interviewing for a job. The number 4 is dress to impress. Like, you got to dress up. Like, this is not what I usually wear, but for the sake of the video, I want to dress properly, right? Like, I can dress even more properly with a tie and more. I've been fortunate enough to work at home, so I'm a little bit lucky that I don't need to wear a suit and tie, so I don't have any ties. I've been working at home for 10 years now, so that's a little bit different. But if your job requires you to wear a tie and suit, wear it. Dress to impress, um, top to bottom. If you're interviewing through a Zoom or a Google Meet, and then of course, like just do what you can to look presentable, right? I think ultimately you want to let the employer know that you take this job interview seriously. You are taking the time to dress up, to look professional. You value their time, you value your own time, right? You want them to feel that you care. So always dress to impress. I think that's like the one of the basic thing. I truly believe approach every job interview like you really want it. I think that the attitude is everything. So the fifth one is time management. What I mean by time management is always be on time. If anything, be 10 minutes early. Again, this goes back to respecting the people's time. You respect your own time and you respect the employer's time. You want to let them know that you are a timely person. You value time. Time is money, and you got to understand how the employer views and look at things. When you're on time, that gives a good impression. If you come with confidence and you're dressed to impress and you're on time, you're going to leave an impression. I guarantee you that. Because by you getting an interview, they are already impressed by your resume. They want to see you in person. They want to hear you talk. They want to learn a little bit more about you. That's why you're having an interview. So do whatever it takes to be on time. Like value, I cannot stress this enough. Like value people's time. When you respect other people's time, they respect yours. On the sixth one, I would say body language. If you're just on Zoom, I think there's not much you can do. You can't do handshake and all that, but have good eye contact, smile. Be friendly. You want to let the employer know feel that you want to be there. You want to be there for the interview. But if you're able to interview in person, I think posture, your whole body language is really important. Chest up, head up, chest out, head up, right? Walk with confidence, firm handshake, eye contact with the person that's interviewing you. Be polite, greet, ask people how they are, how are you? Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Be modest, be kind, yet with confidence. You want to walk with confidence. So make sure that your body language is also ready for the interview. You don't want to look sluggish. You don't want to look low energy, negative attitude. Those are not going to cut out, right? So, those are really basic. I would say number 7 is the mentality, right? Understand this relationship is a two-way street. So you don't want to act desperate for the job. You appreciate the job, but you want to bring value. You are valuable. You have confidence in yourself. You know what you bring to the table. So, in the course of conversating, during the interview, you want to be confident on selling what you can do for the position, for the company, why they should hire you, but not in a way where you're desperate for the job, you're being too um, how should I say it? Like you're trying to over please the employer. You're not trying to do that. When I say mutual beneficial relationship, it's because they're getting an asset like you. You are getting a good environment that pays. That's the relationship. They, from the employer side, they hope that by hiring you, their productivity and revenue is going to go up, right? By you being employed by them, hopefully you're going to get a good paycheck. You're going to get a good experience. You're going to get better at your job. You're going to learn stuff, right? You hopefully you're in a good environment. You're the supervisor, the CEO are good mentor. You're learning a lot. That's going to help you climb the ladder. It's going to help you get better, right? It's a mutual relationship. So never undersell yourself, and know your worth, know your value, and know that you have something to offer and you're an asset, right? Like, always keep that in mind. Never act like desperate for a job. There's jobs where you're determined to get. That's different, right? You're determined to get because you qualify. You don't get it once, you will apply again, you get better and apply again. There are jobs that require you to go through multiple interviews, requires you to go through testing. And then if you're determined about it, you really want it, you're gonna get it. Like that is the ultimate. So understanding the fact that you bring valuable skills, knowledge, experience to the position. I would say number 8, leverage your value. Know that I guess that's the same as so the previous one, I'm just talking about the mentality. When you're negotiating, leverage your value, understanding your value, know what type of skill set and knowledge and information that you bring to the table. You got to understand from the employer's point of view, they always just want to maximize their ROI, return of investment. Every employee is an investment in time, money, right? They want to get the most out of you, right? If you're lucky, the employer doesn't squeeze every minute of you, right? They value who you are, not by like overworking you, hopefully, right? So, understand what type of productivity you bring and what kind of value you bring, and ultimately, because of your existence in the company, because of what you bring to the company, you're going to increase the employer's revenue. That's all the employer cares, honestly. Every single employer, all they care is if they're going to make more money at the end of the day, at the bottom line. That's it. So know that relationship, And number 9, know your market value and understand how to negotiate your salary. So let's just say you're asking for a position that's management that can range from 70,000 to 100,000. Know what your past experience, know what you've done. Maybe your previous job has a similar salary, but you bring more now. I would say recommending always ask above the market. So I want to kind of go back. The video got cut off, so I wanted to go back to understand your market position, your position's market value. You want to negotiate your salary properly, and let's just say your job is an $80,000 or $70,000 job. You want to make sure you ask above that rate. You let the employer try to bring that down, right? The employer is going to try to pay as less as possible, right? But within reason. If you're asking for 100,000, the job is really for 80,000. They might give it to you. Great, excellent. But if you don't get it, you still get your market rate at the very least, right? You don't want to. First of all, you don't want to be a fraud and asking for something that's above your pay grade, and then you're hired but you can't do the job. You're still gonna get fired, right? And that's no point. Don't waste your own time. That's terrible. So whichever job that you're going into, understand the market rate and always ask above the market rate. That's valuing yourself, and ultimately that's why you're trying to get a job, right? You might like the culture, you might be looking for mentorship, but ultimately you're looking for a job to get paid, right? You want to get paid as much as possible. But that comes, it's a reciprocal relationship, right? You give your time, they pay you. What they get is productivity and revenue. What you get is an environment to learn, grow, get better at something, and get better at what you do, and ultimately get paid. So, lastly, number 10, I would say there's this whole culture of lying flat, like I guess in Chinese it's like 躺平, and I think in the West it's like quiet quitting. It's just doing enough, just doing enough, and never going above and beyond. And I get it. Certain jobs you've been pushed, you've been undermined. You don't really want to move anywhere, and by you going above and beyond, you're not being recognized. So that's something you have to think about. Like, if you're not being valued, your time and effort, and you're not getting the raises that you feel like you deserve, you might put in like how many years of time, and you're not getting the recognition. You've been helping the company grow, but you're not getting the share of the pie. Then you either have to move on, or I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. I just think the mentality of going above and beyond is not just benefiting the employer, it's ultimately benefiting yourself. It's like RPG, right? Like role playing games where you're leveling up. Like, going above and beyond only will benefit yourself. It's creating good work ethic, discipline. You are the one who's gonna be learning on the job. Ultimately, you take all that skills and experience away, even if you move on, right? So I highly recommend. I'm not a fan of this whole idea of like just quiet quitting, just doing enough, doing barely enough. Why do that? You're already at the job. Do the best you can. When I say go above and beyond, is whether it's to make the company better, or you're a salesperson trying to go above and beyond to satisfy a client, that's ultimately gonna benefit yourself. Like, that cannot be measured by money. That's like experience you get that you can take away. So those are the 10 tips and things that I truly believe that's going to help you land an interview. Hopefully multiple different interviews, so you get to choose what kind of job you get. And I wish everyone Best of luck. Get your dream job and do the best you can. It only benefits yourself. Good work ethic and discipline only benefit the oneself. Have a wonderful day.